Welcome, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about 3 tools that you can use to help dyslexic students online, even if you don't teach reading. And I think this is a really cool thing that you can utilize to really support your students. I know we all have dyslexic students that you work with. You may not recognize them as being dyslexic. But if you do math, you've probably seen it showing on up if you're doing word problems, and if you've had your students ever reading from text at all, you'll notice some of your students are struggling with that. And so dyslexia could be the problem. If you're unsure if one of your students has dyslexia, all you need to do is download the free tool. It is called How to Spot If Your Student Has Dyslexia. You'll be able to click on that link, download it, and use that workbook that will guide you into understanding a little bit more about dyslexia and if your child has it. October is officially Dyslexia Awareness Month. So we are focusing on our beautiful, beautiful dyslexics. And so glad that you guys are joining us here. Welcome, Lisa Lowe. Glad that you are here joining us inside of the chat. We are going to see some pretty awesome tools today. So get ready for some fun. Welcome back. And today, again, I'm going to be sharing with you those 3 tools that you can be using with your dyslexics. Now, one thing that dyslexics will struggle with in the very beginning, in the early years of the dyslexia, and it can continue on if it's never addressed, is phonological awareness. And I have found that this one tool is a tool that's very similar to what I would use in the classroom. And it really helps for kids to be able to visualize something that's auditory. So, we're going to be talking about phonological and phonemic awareness. So, if we take a look at, I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you guys can see here. These are called Conan boxes. And Conan boxes are often used with students that are struggling. I can take a look here. I've got two sounds, or I can have a 3 sound box, or I can have a 4 sound box, goes all the way up to 5. I could also change the color of the tool. So I can add some student choice inside of this, and I can have them choose what color would they like their chips to be. But then what you do as you are playing with this, you can say to them, okay, think about the word um, met. How many sounds do you hear in met? For some kids, this is a really hard task. They have to think about each sound that they hear. So if they say it slowly and they pull on up these pieces, they can then say it. They can say, met. And I can say 3, right? Now I could put this all the way on 5 and say, "Okay, can you tell me how many sounds are in met?" I can leave this with the 5, and now it doesn't just give them the answer, right? So now I can be like, "Okay, met 3." I can see that there are 3 sounds in there. And then I can take it to the next level and I can say, okay, now let's write down what letters go with each of those sounds. And we can use the tool inside of our annotate to do that. You can have your student have a whiteboard. What I find is my younger students, they do best with a whiteboard in front of them where they can write down the letters and then they show me the board out with the letters written on there. They do so much better using that than they do with using something like this where there are no lines and they write. Um, a lot of dyslexics also struggle with writing things down. That's the second piece of it. So you'll notice that when you bring the board on into it, when they can't see actual lines or things on there, it makes it a little bit struggle. So to take that struggle out, I just use a board with them. I just show the parents on Amazon where to go to be able to grab one of those whiteboards, or if they have a whiteboard already inside of the house, they can just go grab that whiteboard and have their child use that. But Conan boxes are fantastic for this kind of word work. And again, this is just a free tool that's online. You go to toytheater.com and it's Conan boxes. So super, super easy to be able to use. If you ever forget, because I just do this all the time, I'll just type on in Conan boxes virtual, and it's the first one that comes on up. So if you ever forget what it's called, just type in Conan boxes and then virtual, and it will pop on up. Now, the second tool that I really feel like is really huge is thinking about the fonts. And I know that a lot of tutors and teachers, they love the Comic Sans font, but Comic Sans isn't actually designed for dyslexics. It just happens to be an easier font because the A is actually written the way we write it versus that like kind of squiggly looking A that doesn't look like the kind of A that we write. So that's why a lot of teachers like that font. However, there is a font that is for dyslexics. And I didn't learn about this until I was working with an adult who is dyslexic. And she told me that her favorite font was heavier on the bottom. And so now, if you start looking online for dyslexia fonts, you will find that they are much heavier on the bottom of the text. So let me show you. There's a free one. There's also paid ones if you wanted to get them, but the free one works fantastic. I have been using it with my dyslexic students and asking them, do you like this font? And they say, yes, I do like this font. So then I just stick with it for them so that it makes it easier. But I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see where to go to grab this font. It is called opendyslexic.org. And all you have to do is click download. Now, this page you can see is already in a using this font. So you can get a good idea of what does the font look like. You can see that the um, the typeface is a little thicker on the bottom. And it gives it its space to hold that word in place. And this is what dyslexic students really find useful for them. Now, I was able to download this, and I can actually, if I go to any other website, I'm going to go to Newsella for a second here so you can see how this works. If I come on over here to Newsella, you'll notice that right now my font on my screen is just the regular font that you would normally see. But I can now, because I downloaded this, and the extension works also in Microsoft Edge, not just Chrome, I can now turn on my Open Dyslexic font, turn it on, and watch this. It now changes the font on the page to have that bigger bottom on there. And this is really, really useful. Here's an article that I was reading yesterday with one of my students. We can click on this and you'll see now the entire thing is written with this font. Another thing that's really useful with Newsella is that I can choose the reading level. So right now it's on a max reading level. It's at the highest reading level it could possibly be. But if I want to make the same exact article an easier reading level, I can click on that 480L right there. That L means Lexile, and I can utilize this. And now I have the entire article using the dyslexia font. I'd love to know, what do you guys think about this font? Do you think this could be useful for your students? Type inside of the chat. I would love to be able to know. And on to number 3. Now, number 3 is something that I have talked about before in one of my other videos. I haven't talked about it lately. So a lot of you may not have heard about this or even know that this tool exists. I first found out about this tool when I went to a conference for teachers, for reading teachers, and Microsoft happened to be there. And they were sharing with us all the different features that they have that support dyslexics. And I think when I show some of this stuff to you and how it's even come even further since I discussed it, like, I don't know, I think that was like 3 or 4 years ago that I discussed it, it's even gotten better. So today I'm going to show you how you can use a tool called Immersive Reader. Okay. Immersive Reader is only available in Word or it used to be only in OneNote, but now it's also in Word. Did you know that you can get Word online for free? Uh-huh. So if you type on inside of here, Word online free, watch this. It comes up with, and you can see I've got my dyslexia font in there, right? So perfect, perfect. I'm going to click on this, and I'm now going to be able to create um, any document that I want. So let's say I wanted to read that last article that I pulled on up from Newsella. All I have to do if I want to read Building a Sturdy House is I'm going to take this and um, I'm going to copy some of it. Now, I can copy the whole entire article, but just know that when I do copy it, I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing so that it is readable. Like this image makes it really difficult. So I'm just going to take that piece out. And then the part that describes the image, in this case, I am going to take that piece out as well. And now what you'll see is I have that article now just brought on in from the right inside from that article, okay? But here's where it really becomes fun, guys, because now I'm gonna hit View. And again, this is free for absolutely everybody. I'm gonna click on Immersive Reader and take a look at this. It now has brought this up so that I can read this. Now I can choose, I have so many options for choice. You'll notice that I still have my dyslexia font on here. If I want to take that off, I can. So I can actually just ask my student, tell me which way you like to look at these words, right? So I can come on over and I can say, does this look better for you? Or like I can just ask them like right out of the gate, does this look better for you? Or and then I just come right on over here and I can turn it back on, saves it. It's now converting it. So now I have to come back over, go to View, Immersive Reader, or is this better? So I can just ask them right out of the gate, which is better for you? And then I can now choose the different font sizes. So maybe this is too big of a font size and maybe I want something smaller. Or maybe I want something bigger, right? You get to choose. Sometimes it depends on the device that the student is on, and sometimes they're on a phone. If they're on a phone, you may be at this size so that they can read it. If you are on a computer or they have a good, good it's really good for them, maybe this is the size that you're on. Again, ask them for their feedback and find out what are the combinations that they like the best. Some students, there's something that's been discovered. It's called Erlin's disease. Okay. A lot of dyslexics also have Erlin's disease. Erlin's disease makes it really difficult to see black writing with a white background. You may find some kids will use colored glasses if they know which color works best for them. But you could also use these different overlays to find out what color works best for that specific student. And if they do have Erlin's disease, this could really, really help them be able to be so much more successful with their reading when they're reading because now they're not getting it. Here we've got just like now it's changed from white to black. That might be easier for your student. This may be easier for your student. Just choose some of the colors and then find out for them which works best. Okay. The next thing that you can do, you can even uh, go on over to the grammar options. What I find is this is such a great tool when a student is struggling with a word. If I can show them how to break up that word into syllables, they can read it. this will automatically break that word up for them. Now, I can't leave it on this one. If I leave it with syllables on here all of the time with it broken up, I do find that their fluency is affected. So you definitely want to make sure that you're only turning it on when that's needed. So as they are reading, right, they can read, they can go on through and read this. As they struggle with a word, like all of a sudden they come to contain and they want to say contrain. I can say, okay, let's take a look at this and let's take a look at the word now. So it already broke it up for me, and that makes it super duper easy. So I can take a look and say, yep, you got on, but now take a look at the second part right here. What do you notice? So I've separated the part that they are struggling with from the other part. And I can say, okay, as we take a look at this, how many letters are in front of that consonant? One. Okay, what sound does it make? And there we go. So uh, that is really, really helpful for the kids. But again, I only turn that piece on as we're working on a word versus leaving it on because they will read slower. You can also have the text read for them. So let me show you what that looks like when you have the text read for them.
Have you ever built a house of cards? It can be hard to do. But not for Brian Berg. He holds the world record. He built the tallest structure made of playing cards. His card buildings do not.
Now, is it the best for fluency? It's all right. You can change though. You have settings. You have voice settings. You can turn it into a male if you want to. You can have it read slower if you want to. You can have it read faster if you want to. It's totally up to you, again, and the student, what those settings are. Another great feature is the line focus. So again, some of our kids really struggle with moving from one line to the next. By using line focus, they now just have to focus on one line at a time. And so here I can take a look, and now they can begin reading, and that makes it so much easier. Now I have this on full screen now. You'll notice if I don't have it on full screen, some of my words are getting chopped off over here on the side. But as soon as I enter that full screen mode, I can see the entire sentence. And now I can go line by line. I also have the ability to change this line presence. Look, now I can move it to 3 lines at a time. So I don't have to move it for every single line, but after 3 lines, I then can move it down as we go for the student. Isn't this cool? I'd love to know what you guys think of Immersive Reader and how it can help your students. Even that ability to be able to change the color. Here we move it just a little bit more. There's also a picture dictionary as well. So if we click on this right now, it says picture dictionary is on. So let's say I don't know what the word cells means. There's lots of different pictures here so that kids can see there are many different meanings of the words cells. I can then choose the one that we're talking about, and I could say, here we go. This is the one we're talking about. We're talking about plant cells, right? The cells form a grid, right? So we can talk about, how our plant cells, we're talking about plant cells, not cell phones, right? That can help them. Let's say a strong honeycomb. If we take a look here, let's do this. Let me go here. Honeycomb, strong base, bird, structures. All right, I gotta exit out of the full mode here and just just click on the word. Sometimes there is a picture for it, sometimes there isn't a picture for it. So if I click on a word and it's not popping on up with a picture, that's because there is no picture for it. But a lot of the words do have a picture. So here we go. We've got pattern, right? This is showing patterns. Repeating, though, doesn't. It will say the word, like if a child is struggling with it, it also will tell them how to read that word. So again, super helpful.
Repeating.
If they're really struggling with it, it gives them a little bit more autonomy. What do you do if you're using a PDF, right? Because you can't take a PDF and you can't put it into Word. but you can turn a PDF into a Word document. So if you go into search and you put PDF to Word, skip the Adobe one, right? But this ilovepdf.com, you can click on this. You can take any PDF that you have and you can turn it into a Word document. So I was doing a fluency passage here. I'm going to open this one on up. And now it is converting. I'm going to click here, convert to Word. And I can see that it converted to Word. It shows me right there. I'm going to open that on up. And I'm going to pop on up my screen so you can see it. I'm going to bring it on up because it pulled down on my lower screen there. And now I can enable editing. What I want to do is I want to take this text right here, and I'm going to bring that on into my Word document. So this is my regular Word, right? This does not have, oh, it does have Immersive Reader on there. It has Immersive Reader right there. It looks a little bit different than the online version, as you can see. I can still have it like read. I can still break it up into syllables. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring it on over into the other one, into Word. Go back. Just going to delete this for now. Put this inside of here. I like the way this shows up better than the way it was showing up before. This just works for me better, and it may work for your student better. So I do like it in the online, the free online version of Word better than the other ones. And so now I can go to View, Immersive Reader, and I can make those selections that I want to be able to make. So if I want to change that background to whatever color it is I want to, I can. If I want to bring things together so it's all on one page, I can. I can come on over here. I can do the lines if I would like to, where it's only going to focus on one line, and then I move it on down each time. I can do that. And then this is really, really helpful for those kids that really struggle with, wanting to make their eyes skip that line. They're not going to skip any lines using this strategy, and that can be really, really useful for them. And they feel more confident too. And you could teach them how to use this resource with when they are in school, so that they can have more success. So I'd love to know what you guys think. If you are wondering if one of your students has dyslexia, definitely download the free tool that I have that shows you how you can spot dyslexia. I'll show you how you can grab that. You just go to onlinetutorcoach.com, and it is how to spot, let's say spot if my student has dyslexia. I'm going to grab the link. Looks just like this. Oh, look at that. It's even in my dyslexia font. Look at that. How nice is that? You can download that, and that will be a resource and a tool that you'll be able to utilize and be able to help your students with. So I will put that link inside of the. Can I put it in the chat? I don't know if I can. Okay, it did work to go into the YouTube, but it didn't work to go inside of the Facebook. So if you are in the Facebook group, you guys, all you need to do is look at the description, because I did already add that link on there so that you have a tool. If you're just wondering if your student has dyslexia, there you go, right? 20% of our students have dyslexia, okay? And this is Dyslexia Awareness Month. So it's such a great time to be able to really share and you know, let people know, like, dyslexia really is a thing, and it's not that dyslexics can't learn to read, they can, but these resources and the tools, they make it even easier for kids to be able to read online and for you to be able to teach them online. So hopefully you guys enjoyed all of these resources. Remember, we've got the Dyslexia font that's free. You have the um, you have online Word version, which is free with Immersive Reader, and now Conan Boxes. Those are 3 tools that are gonna be really useful for you if you're working with, students with dyslexia. Thanks for joining us, you guys, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.